Music, one of life's greatest pleasures, has tremendous power. The power to bring a tear to the eye or quiet a racing mind. Music also has the power to heal and has been used through the ages to treat depression, create energy, induce sleep, relieve chronic pain, reduce stress, and even cure diseases. And now, musician and author Michael Tyrrell has created Whole Tones, the healing frequency music projects. These frequencies were studied in the music of King David and believed to have astounding healing effects. Now you can benefit from this revitalized ancient healing music therapy simply by listening daily to this music in the comfort of your own home, car, or office. Reward yourself with the gift of healing and transformation. Don't miss this opportunity to get an absolutely free sample of this music so that you can begin benefiting right away. Just visit WholeTonesLive.com and get a free sample of these soothing, relaxing, revitalizing musical tones. Visit WholeTonesLive.com today for your free sample. That's WHOLETONES Live.com. WholeTonesLive.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. Welcome to the Neil Baker Hour. I am Kristen, and I'm here with Neil, psychic and author Neil Baker. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning.
Welcome, everyone, to our show. We're today continuing our discussion that spanned actually the last three shows regarding psychic development. So we're glad you could join us. Callers that are in the queue, glad to have you as well. Want to let you know that we will be getting to your calls shortly. Everybody in the queue will be getting a reading, but we don't get to our callers till about 15 or 20 minutes into the show, so please be patient and know that we will be answering your calls. For those of you that are new to our show, we would love if you followed us right here on Blog Talk Radio or joined us on Facebook or Twitter. Those accounts are linked under our Blog Talk Radio profile. Neil's number, 562-596-7818. And what else did I want to say? Oh, I actually, for those of you who are on our Facebook, I posted several of Neil's poems, an excerpt from Occultist Liber, a short story. These have been published on Facebook and, of course, in books that are available on Amazon.com. But these excerpts have been published on Facebook. For some reason, what happened was it's showing notes that aren't there. So there are, it says we have a certain amount of notes in our, it's where you publish things like this, poems, essays, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I did is republish them to Facebook. So if you get a chance, go and read those. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. And Neil didn't know I did this, but I wanted to make sure they were all saved on there rather than just appearing in the feed. I don't know what happened with that application, but something went wrong, apparently. That's why they weren't showing. Anyway, getting into our topic, Neil.
Yeah, the third eye. Developing the third eye.
That's right. So, go ahead.
Well, the attitude of the third eye is based on, of course, the sixth chakra, and that's right above in the brow of the head. It's located right there above the eyes. It's considered your third eye. And it's much like the energy of the pyramid, where you have your two visible eyes, your two naked eyes, and at the apex you have the third eye, just like the pyramid on the dollar bill. I know that has different symbolic connotations with the Masons and everything, and all. It just goes deep into that. But we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss the absolute concept of the mystical eye, the all-seeing, omniscient, omnipresent eye, which is your third eye, that is combined with the energies of your naked eye. Now, you don't actually have to use your naked eye to utilize the functions of the third eye. It helps because you see things morphing with your naked eye. But, of course, there are blind seers and blind psychics that utilize the whole nature of the third eye and the darkness of that sphere.
Right, and actually that kind of brings it back to the Masons, because I think the idea that people have about these conspiracies that go on is that people that are at the top level of power in the world do have the gift of sight, but they're not utilizing it for the best purposes.
Yeah.
So, but we're talking about utilizing the third eye the way the higher energies.
The higher energies, beyond the concept of worldly cults that have esoteric, deep, secret, forbidden knowledge in their own context. We're looking at the cosmic eye of the universe. We're going out into the wilderness of the outer spheres, beyond the etheric realms, and obtaining knowledge from the third eye that has within it all the knowledge of the universe, all the knowledge of your past life, all the knowledge of what this life is supposed to be about, and the ultimate goal of seeking your journeys henceforth into the realm of the future and other dimensions and spheres and that kind of thing. Well, that third eye captures all of that. And what it does is it doesn't have the same kind of physical sight as the naked eyes. Your naked eye, your physical eyes are here to perform for you while you're on the earth. So you'll see everything on the earth. Indeed, your naked eye can go a little bit beyond that and see deeply into things, and it does absorb some kind of extraordinary insight by looking at objects and being visual. But what happens when the naked eye doesn't really hold knowledge? It holds a visual stimulation that becomes connected to our brain as we interpret what we look at. But when we go deep into the world, when we go deep into experience, when we look at things that are beyond the physical realm, those naked eyes are actually releasing their hold on reality and allowing the third eye to intermingle with it and thereby even take it over to where we actually, with the third eye, can obtain high esoteric knowledge. We can see ghosts and spirits and angels, receive vibrations, astral travel. That third eye captures all of that. And if we're lucky, that third eye will feed us information about the world beyond our world, where some of our more gifted psychics and spiritualists and channelers have discussed deep matters with higher entities and shared that knowledge with us from very small people indeed all the way to the highest personalities that we've seen on this planet, including Christ himself, who came down and overturned everything about what the concept of the universe is. In that world, it was all about love and forgiveness and everything like that, to all the other, beyond the rules and the regulations and the laws that supposedly God gave us for human conduct. That represents a higher form. So we're getting into the realm of what laws, rules are, into the emotional aspect, because spirituality is very emotional because it involves love and light and all that kind of source, capital source information. So we get into the emotionality of spirituality. But even beyond the emotionality of spirituality, which is a beautiful design in and of itself, we get into the realm of knowledge. Knowledge sometimes is perceived as parables. We use similes and we use different things, and we don't have downright language going on that is direct information. Sometimes you hear these mystics that are channeling higher guides and spirits and angels, and they say, greetings, people, I love you, love each other. And the messages they're fine, they're harmless. There's nothing wrong with those messages, and sometimes in the length of the exposition, you feel very inspired by the words. But they usually I've noticed when people are conveying that information through the third eye, because that's the third eye speaking, and that's the third eye and the higher elements of the evolved brain, it goes to a certain length, and then it sort of just drops. Sometimes there's some predictions in there, but that's kind of common too, that we might be in for rough times, or that we're in for bountiful times, or that we're in the millennium and we're in a high consciousness
right,
era.
We're transforming into some kind of utopia.
Yeah, sometimes that goes on, which I think is going way out there into the future, because when you read the paper, we're not in any utopia, so to speak. Just read the paper and decide for yourself whether we're living in heaven or not. We're not. There's suffering going on, and it's disrespectful to say that we in our comfort zones are living in a paradise. We're not. And I don't mean to say that people who subscribe to the spiritual essence of life, I'm not saying that they're all ignorant. Some of them very well know verbatim that the world is filled with bad things.
Right, and I think many people putting out positive intentions are trying to raise the vibration, of course, and change the negativity. So that's great.
There's nothing wrong with that. We're not here to attack any of that, so there's no contest about that. What we're trying to get into is the intense channel of how do we get to this place to begin with. First of all, you've got to get into your chakra system. And the first chakra system is the grounding. The first chakra can help lead us to enlightenment in the sixth chakra, or to the third eye, the visual eye. And what I mean by grounding is sometimes you need a platform in which to blast off on. And the platform here is to understand that we are of the earth too. I mean, we're of the spirit first and foremost, but we have crash landed on this planet, and we're all here, I believe, because of karmic gravity. And that has placed us back on this planet to work through. So the first thing is to understand that you are a living entity filled with molecules, cells, mass of energy, and you're walking on this planet, and this isn't the first time you've been here many times, and you've got to start grounding yourself in terms of what your walk in the world is supposed to be about. So if you see a lot of conflicts in there, you have to stop walking before you move forward. You have to, first of all, consider, who am I on this planet? Why am I here, and what am I trying to accomplish? That's the beginning entry level to understanding the third eye, because if you can't understand yourself, how are you going to understand a higher being that's dimensions above your own intelligence? You have to understand who you are first. Know thyself, as Shakespeare said. Know thyself, as some of the great philosophers demonstrated to us. So when you're in that realm and you understand who you are as a person, you don't have to have everything figured out yet, but you understand, you have that concept. You're beginning to tap into omniscience, which is all-knowingness, which is what the third eye is waiting for you to get up to. So think of the third eye as geometry and the earth as arithmetic, just basic math. Your first chakra is basic math. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. And as we get into a higher dimension of energy in terms of using mathematics as our simile, and we get into calculus and physics, and we're getting to all these vast formulas and symbols, then we're getting into the realm of what the third eye is. But we can't get there until we know our basics. Anyone will tell you when they're teaching, they always go back to the basics. In dance, it's the basic footsteps. In music, it's the basic notes and all that. In writing, it's the basic way you phrase a sentence. You always have to go back to the basics. And in order to understand the elaborate system of the third eye, which has so many components to it, it's amazing, it's endless, because the third eye is eternal, you have to understand the first basics of what sight is. And sight is first, know your environment. Don't ever say you're lost. You're never lost. You're always in a space, on a space, conducting yourself accordingly. So I never say I'm lost. Even when we're lost, if Chris and I are driving somewhere and we go, we're lost, I try never to even think we're lost. We're never lost. We're in the space we're in. So that's the first question that you ask yourself. Do you ever say you're lost? And to me, the answer of understanding with the third eye is no. We are in the space we're in, and there's a reason. Maybe you're lost because there's a reason. Maybe you're supposed to be lost. Maybe the experience has to do with leading up to something that's going to be very important. So, aside from the literal translation of what being lost is, we're supposed to be at this destination, we're on this street, and we don't know how to get over to that destination. We have to go on the map and look. Well, there's a logical premise to being lost. But in essence, if you say you're not lost, that you are in the space you are in, that's the grounding of the first chakra. The first chakra is never lost. It's always grounded in the space that it's in. That's the first lesson to understanding the third eye.
So to develop the third eye, we must be grounded in the first chakra.
Yeah.
And so, do people have third eye experiences without that grounding? And what occurs when they do? Is it misleading, the information that the sixth chakra receives?
Ask the schizophrenic. Schizophrenics. Some of my best most colorful conversations with the experiences I've had in the world of psychology have been with schizophrenics.
Right.
They hear voices. They're way out there.
Okay.
And every once in a while, you can get a kernel of truth and valuable information from them.
I understand your point, so well taken. But I'm actually maybe not going to that extreme of schizophrenia. I'm just talking about perhaps, the common individual.
But those people, Kristen, those people should be honored. Those are the John Patmos. Those are the people that should be honored because they really can't function in society. They just don't work well in society. But if we can put them in a think tank and provide for them all the things they need because they're so brilliant and enlightened, and that all they do is receive information from a higher source, then that's a valued human being. Some of them remain isolated, and they work in isolation, and they stay away from the world because they really can't function in it. But yet they, a lot of our brilliant thinkers are like that. One person in exile that is forever immortalized in literature was J.D. Salinger, who was totally antisocial. There's photographs of him capturing him going to the store and shopping and stuff, but the man fortified himself in a castle. He isolated himself, and he was never seen or heard of until his death, except for a few chosen people that he gave privilege to see him. Well, that's a literary isolationist. But look what he became immortalized by one simple book, even though he wrote other books. Some of our great thinkers are people who isolate themselves. Now, Einstein, he didn't totally isolate himself. He was rather a comedian, and he involved himself in society even though he was sort of a clown, as opposed to also being a brilliant physicist and astral engineer, what he developed in his theories. So we can have a combination of energy whereby someone who is activating the third eye, who is not totally grounded, because Einstein would forget to tie his shoes, we can have that kind of brilliance. And it's amusing, because what we do is we respect the fact that we're in the presence of somebody very brilliant, channeled to something very high, and is sort of, in society, sort of a misfit. Their tie is undone, whatever it may be. They just don't pay attention to those things. So can you be, quote, ungrounded and yet grounded enough to function in society? Absolutely. And some of our good psychics are like that, some of our great mystics.
So, Neil, I want to get to the callers in just a moment, but on our past couple of shows, we talked about certain things we should do. Just to recap, one, do intense study and practice, because if you're going to get into the realm of metaphysics, you've got to, and want to open the third eye, you've got to train yourself. So it's not like just, you're going to become a psychic in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What else did we talk about?
Well, that's a good point. Because before we go to our callers, the third eye is out there in space, but the concept is the grounding of the third eye. If you don't have a grounding of the third eye, you're going to be saying things that are inaccurate.
Right.
Oh, my God, there's going to be an earthquake tomorrow. Oh, you're going to die. If you go there, you're going to be killed, and nothing happens. People get very dramatic with what they think is third eye information. But what they haven't done is they haven't properly grounded their third eye, so it's like a rocket that goes off and it's going zigzagging all over the sky because the components and the physics and everything aren't correct. They haven't properly drawn out their blueprint and made a correct elevation of energy to where a rocket ship can find its point and make contact. So you have to have a good grounding system, a good surveillance of how to direct the third eye. You direct the third eye by first grounding it so that when it does take off, it knows exactly where it's going and it doesn't go into a wild goose chase. Grounding the third eye requires a certain amount of breath, a certain amount of maintenance of the balance of the chakras, a certain amount of inner dialogue, the preparation. So you ground the third eye. The way to ground the third eye, first of all, is through breath. You have to breathe properly so that you know how to fit your first chakra in a proper root system to where it can't be pulled out and straight.
And ideally, you're going to have a balance in each of the chakras, because if there's an imbalance in any of the chakras, it can disrupt the energy of the third eye. So, yeah. I mean, it's complicated. It's hard to consolidate this information into 3, 15 to 20-minute sessions on shows. But
lastly, the breath can ground each chakra. Breath is your kind of your positioning power of balance. If your breath is balanced, then you can balance that breath with any given chakra that you work through. And typically, until you get very skilled, you want to go into systematic order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get very skilled, you can quickly go to any one chakra out of order and be grounded. That's the epitome of grounding the energy. If I want to ground myself and I don't want to go through every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can go straight to the 5th chakra, ground it, and everything's in alignment. But that's because it's practice. Practice makes perfect, and you keep doing it so that you're never out of alignment in a dramatic way. So it's a consistency. Spirituality isn't on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Church is on Sunday. No, spirituality is every day, every living moment, every living breath. That's spirituality.
All right, Neil. And for those who want to learn more about developing the third eye, we've got hours and hours of archives with lots of information in our shows. I mean, we talk about this even though these shows are dedicated to the subject. I mean, this training the third eye comes up in many of our shows. So I encourage our listeners to go back into the archives and listen to our past shows. Okay, so it's a light day today, Neil, so we'll be able to spend a little bit more time unless we get other callers coming in, but because we do like to get to everybody that calls. But for the moment, 512 is first, 813, and 757. This is who we have in the queue. So that is the order, and we encourage you to hang out and wait. Thank you for being patient. Area code 512. Who's this, please?
Hi, this is Julia.
Hi, Julia. And your birth date and location, Julia?
I am in Austin, Texas, and my birth date is 09/08/76.
Okay. I would encourage you not to put a 0 when you're stating your birth date, because that actually is an energy, and 0 is a tough energy.
Funny.
So it's 9/8/7.
I don't usually do it. I just did for some reason.
That's weird. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Well, maybe Neil will pick something.
Because I love to say 9876 because it's fun.
Yeah, and they're great numbers. Actually, Julia, you've got great numbers.
Thank you.
And so putting a 0 in there, not necessary, but there is a 0 in her 40 equals 4. 40 equals 4. Mm-hmm. Long karma.
Yeah.
What's your question, Julia?
Well, I'm really open if y'all can do that for whatever spirit would like me to know.
No problem.
Well, basically, Julia, you're in a karmic situation intensely until the age of 40. So you have long karma. Your master number is 4. That's heart. It's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good master number. It's a heart. You're here involving yourself. We're all here involving ourselves in the heart. We all should be involved in that. But the heart, when your master number is 4, there's an intense effort to be in the heart zone of existence and to be balanced. Your goal, strong essence, to be balanced and be balanced in the heart zone. Now, what's interesting about your numbers, and you're 38, so you've got 2 years before you make a really major change.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah, you made one 2 years ago. You undoubtedly had a change at 36, where there should have been a change. Maybe there was a move. It could have been a geographical change. It could have been a job transition. But approximately 2 years ago, should have been a change. Was there any, before we go on?
Well, I started, things have been taking a little longer than I anticipated, but I went and got my master's, and then I started private practice this past November. So that was, it took about an extra almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Then, so around,
Julia, your delay is based on the amount of karma that you've had to pay for based on past lives. So that's why your dialogue is saying it took a little bit longer than usual. So what I'm hearing is at the age of 36, is that when you were promoting your master's?
I was just finishing and waiting. Well, I'm trying to pass my, and I will pass, my national MFT exam, become a marriage and family therapist. So that has, 2 years of kind of after I graduated and received my master's. I had 2 years in there just studying for the exam.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's all going to happen, Julia. Now, the idea, too, of your master number is 4, what's wonderful about your energy is look at the number system you have. They all exceed 4. 9, 8, 7, 6.
Yeah.
Is above 4. Your fire number 8 is a very strong graduating number, which implies success. And 9 and 8 is 17, which is an 8, which also applies to success and power in the good term. 76 is a 13. 7 and 6 is 13. In numerology, that's a 4, which is your master number. 1976 is 14 equals 5. That means your master's is in communication. And, of course, you're not going to be a good family and marriage therapist if you don't communicate. If you just stare and look at them, you're going to not make much money. But
right.
You will ultimately, at the age of 40, it really takes off. So you had a certain journey that you had to go through from age 1 to 40 that was reflective of a past life. You enter the world on a 9, so do I. That's very powerful. And you have an 8 in energy. That's great. That's fantastic. Now notice how the 8 slides over past the century to a 7. That's a different one. So you've come back to reform on the attitude of home. That's the first chakra. Don't forget, your drop 8 to 7 is a drop of 1. 1 is the root chakra. The root chakra is concerned with home, ground, the grounding, the element of grounding. So you've come back as a marriage family counselor to ground the family. And it sounds like you're grounding them to the ground, but ground the family to
anchor the family
to higher to reform and rebirth and hopefully regroup. So what you're doing is you're dismantling, you're disintegrating your karma by increasing your abilities to bring people together from the ground up. So your spiritual program is what you're doing, Julia, and two, you call it, I have a degree in psychology too, so we're sort of linked in that way, in that world of psychology. My colleagues in psychology would say, the two go mix. You're dealing in psychology. How can you talk to spirit work? Unless you get into more of an esoteric parapsychology, where you get into people like Jung and things like that advance their knowledge into the universe and see that we are one in the universe, and we can get into higher spiritual matters and symbols and dream interpretations. But short of that, what brings you to my world and to our world, Kristen and I, is the third eye. Now, the third eye is your sixth chakra, which is neatly embedded in the number 6 of your year. Not that that's 6. Anyone can be born in 76. But I'm giving you the thumbprint of your reading. I don't care about anybody else right now born in 76. I only care right now about Julia and how that 6 applies to you. That 6 applies to you because it's the third eye, the psychic energies, connecting to spirituality. So what that means, and then that brings it to a 1-3, which is going to be the root chakra and the stomach chakra, where we have a lower body-mind thing going on. The stomach is the lower mind of the lower chakras. It's the epitome of the lower chakras because it's in a triangular shape. It's a 3. Now that's your stomach, but food for thought. The stomach rules the lower organs, and so you have an ability to rule you nourish the family through esoteric and seemingly academic knowledge, and that's what you're going to be in this brief reading. I don't have time to get into the other details of your life and other interesting compartments of your existence, but you asked me for a general nutshell of a reading, and that's just to give you a basis for what grounds you to be who you are now, aside from the fact that you have an upbringing, your mom and dad, your interests, whatever intellectual pursuits you have or emotional. That is also contributed into your journey. But the deeper journey, when I just pull the soul out of your body, this is due to karma, that you have this job.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I've been working on raising my vibration and even going to start, as you mentioned, I am more of on the kind of new age alternative healing, connecting to your higher self spirituality piece of the work that I do with my clients. So I'm trying to raise that vibration for me and also stay grounded so I can be in that place and just energetically help my clients.
You're in the right sphere. You're doing exactly what will ultimately transcend you into a higher plane. So good for you.
All right, Julia. Well, we thank you for your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Neil. Happy Earth Day. God bless.
Happy Earth Day. We forgot to say it today. Thanks for reminding us. Happy Earth Day, and give us a call again, Julia. You can also follow us right here on Blog Talk Radio, and you can join us on Facebook and on Twitter. We really appreciate the support of our listeners and our callers, so that would be great. 562-596-7818 is Neil's direct number, and any inquiries about further conversations should be directed to the phone number, not the email, because you'll get me on the Internet, you'll get Neil on the phone. All right. 813 is next, and then 757. 757, I think, called our show the other day, and we get a reading. So.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
My name is Nicole.
Well, there's a lot of background noise, Nicole. I don't know if it's possible to eliminate that. Are you on a headset?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, there's a lot of background noise on your phone, I think. Can you get to a quieter place? Maybe get off.
Okay, is that better?
Marginally. What's your birth date, Nicole? We'll see how it goes here. What's your birth date?
7/23/1984.
4. Oh, and where are you calling from tonight?
Florida.
47. Mm-hmm. Okay, Nicole. What is your question?
Yeah. My question is, I just got married in July, and me and my husband just moved into a house. Do you see us having a family together?
Congratulations, or best wishes, I think you're supposed to say to the bride. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you have a family together, then you both have a family with somebody else while you're together.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
logically, that's not a hard question. Going to have. I know what you mean, Nicole, and I don't mean to see. Maybe I do mean. Really, what am I going to? We're going to have a. No, you're not going to have. You're going to have a family not together. You're going to have a family together. You're going to have a family. You're in your new home. You're 30 years old. Now here's the situation. You're getting married before your karma's over. Your karma's over at the age of 34, which means that when people get married or make major decisions before the karma's over, and you have 34 years of karma, they can either, one, you could be divorced at 34, two, you could, all the negatives about anything happening when you're in marriage could happen at 34. The reason it won't go that way, is because in your crossover from 33 to 34, you have an 8 in your year, and that's significant. That's significant abundance. So I think that you're lucky enough to be married before the age of 34, and at 34 you'll receive another a home, a child, a new job. Something's going to happen at the age of 34 within the marriage that is going to be a blessing for you. And I assume right now, maybe 34, you're going to be having your second child.
Right.
What's your don't give me your name or anything, but what's your husband's birthday?
My husband's birthday is October 22nd, 1981.
October 22nd, 1981. Well, okay, 10, 11, 12, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's the 24th, and you're a 34, 7, 6.
Yeah.
And that, see, your two numbers combined together become a 4, which is sitting at the end of the year, which is known. Your years are interchangeable. You were married in the month that you were born. So you have a 3 there and a 5 there. That's an 8. Your karmic higher numbers equate to 8. Oh, that's a good zone. Your husband went through some really difficult troubles earlier in life. Am I right? Did he go through was there divorce in his family? Was there any troubles he went through that were impressive that he got through them? Anything like that?
His parents are deceased. I never met his parents.
His parents, that's what I mean. He's fairly young.
Yeah.
His parents are gone. That's what I mean. Trouble. True.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a family, and you're going to have children. I will go out on a limb and say you're going to have at least 2 children. Was anybody in your family or in his family in the background, in the family lineage, anybody ever involved in medicine or nursing?
Okay. Okay.
What she said?
Nursing against his family or his family, is that a yes or no?
Hello?
I can hear us.
I'm sorry, it's kind of breaking up.
I think
It's kind of breaking up though.
right. We're not. I don't know if it's blog talk or video, but right now. So the question is, nursing in your family or his family? Anybody with a history of nursing?
Okay.
So having a communication problem, we can get on the line of exactly.
Hey.
Well, there are any nurses or doctors in the history of your family's history or his history. Oh, this is fun because she can't hear us.
Yeah, she can't hear us. So, yeah, I think there's also a toxic. What did I want to say?
analyzing.
Okay, so do is bring on our caller now, and then we can get back to Nicole if maybe she gets a better place to this discussion. Okay, who's this? 757.
Hello?
Hi, who's this?
This is Kia. It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
It's your that's weird.
Hello?
Ready? Can you hear us here?
I can hear you, but it's like it's breaking up every time you guys say something.
I think a connection problem.
Well, pick it up with Blog Talk.
Yeah, well, Kara, can you give us your birthday again, please?
Say it again?
Can you give us your birthday again, please?
Yes, it's 12/19/1992.
92. And you're 34/7, I think. Okay. What's your question?
Okay, I was trying my best to listen, but I think you said, what's your question?
Yeah, I did. What's your question?
Okay, I just really wanted any spirit, guide, angelic messages. That's all I really want.
Angelic messages. All right.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay, angelic messages for you today, Kier. What I'm getting in the essence of your energy today for an angelic message has something to do with the water system of life, the liquid energy of life. So it has something to do with the voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at all do you have any deep, significant connection to water or ocean or streams? Does water hold any importance to you visibly in your life?
I would probably say yes, I guess.
Well, and can you elaborate a little bit why you would say yes?
Well, I would signify water with emotion, so I guess. Hello?
Yeah, with emotions? Oh, I see, emotions.
Yes.
Yeah, well, then the emotional state, the journey of going through an emotional state right now, and you are 22 years old, which equates, you're still in a karmic zone. Your master number is 7, which is a spiritual number, and you have a pretty strong balance between your male and female psyches. So you have this balance of male-female energy within your system, which means that the logic and the emotions oftentimes interlock in a balanced manner. Now, at 22, what you're experiencing is also the sexuality of balance. And so there's going to be something deep going on between the essence of who you are as a human being on this planet, your sexuality in connection to this planet, that is thereby connected to your emotions, your heart. So you're going to probably be going through a journey of a relationship that's going to amount to a karmic lesson for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad lesson. It just means it's a life lesson, and that could also be a confirmation of something positive. So you're going through that element right now. Are you currently in a relationship?
No, but I wanted to be in a relationship, but it just wasn't working out. So yeah.
So you're in the conflict of a relationship. What's going to happen here is you're going to be involved in another one because another one is coming up, and there's going to be an emotional intensity to this relationship. I have to forewarn you that in past relationships you may have experienced a lot of hurt and pain. But that is because you have two factors going on in your karma. You have a 2 and a 9, which is an 11, and you virtually have 2 1s, which is an 11. And people who have this strong 11 going on, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is also a 13 or a 4, they usually experience a lot of difficulty in relationships. So you've had that. What I'm encouraged by, Kiera, is that you have a 9 in your day, and that 9 is endurance. So you're going to be able to endure the karma of your relationships, and thereby, as you move forward through time, from the age of 22 onward, even until the age of 34, you're going to experience a deeper sense of balance about the universe. You're going to be able to take the yin and the yang and the negatives and the positives of your life and put them together and experience a fine line of balance. That's very important, because when that happens, you're going to be able to find the relationship of your dreams. It's going to be a spiritual relationship. So in other words, there'll be spirituality in the relationship. There'll be nice communication, and there'll be a beautiful sexuality. So you're going to be able to experience that in time, but not quite yet. You're still going through your karmic lessons. Also, there's going to be some approach to an educational pursuit. So do you plan at this point on pursuing an educational career where you would go back to school?
I was thinking about it. I really was. I still am thinking about it because I'm really interested in metaphysics. And I thought about going to, doing an online metaphysics class, going to online metaphysics college, I guess. I tried to put myself in the shoes of having, one of those occupations like a doctor's lawyer. I couldn't find it, just didn't fit me. So I'm still on the edge of probably going to school for creative writing or something along those lines.
Well, perfect. You're a 34/7. I'm a 34/7 too, and I am deeply involved in creative writing. So I encourage creative writers can delve deeply into the metaphysics, and you don't have to stop there just because of your profession. But this is important, Kiera, that you continue to pursue your goals. You need to really, I have a feeling that at some point you should academically get back there. You're 22 years old. Don't wait too long. You don't want to wait too long now, and get back into that pursuit. So what are we looking at in a nutshell? We're looking at the transformation into a deep, loving, balanced relationship with another person. It will be reciprocal. We're looking at the pursuit of your higher knowledge, which would probably require that you go into some sort of academic program of some nature. And and then the fulfillment of your life on this planet, given that you have to be spiritual as well as physical. So we're looking at right now, and as we get back and round it up with the area of the ocean, you're right, and that subconscious world, it is watery. We're basically made up of water, and that water contains every molecule we've ever experienced on this planet. So even the way back to the idea that we are evolved from lower animals. So your interconnection with the planet on that total unit of thought, from the ground up, from the single cell all the way up to the element of Homo sapien is the expression of what your existence should be. So write about it, think about it, express it, and make it your life ambition.
Thank you. I like that.
Okay, Kiera. Well, thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
562-596-7818 is Neil's number, and we're out of callers. It's very odd.
Yeah, it's not been as busy a show. We have 10 minutes left. We can chat for a minute or two, and if somebody calls, we can take their call. We were talking about the third eye and the grounding of the third eye.
Right, and the show topic, I want to remind both of us that it's the levels of psychic development. So there is a systematic approach to developing your psychic ability and tiers that you're going to reach as you ascend in your ability, in your study.
Well, yeah, I mean, and even in our context, as you're developing your third eye and getting into the language of what it is to not only come with some pre-knowledge of it, which you had, but then the activation as to how do you get to a place where you kind of sense you have a third eye, you know about it, you can converse to some degree about it, but then from there, how do you develop it?
Right.
How do you go into a further note? You might want to share some of those
Well,
things.
I mean, I guess the first thing for me is that, when I began this journey with you, Neil, not when I began the journey, but when I made a full commitment to our work together and developing my third eye, I mean, I've had the luxury of being able to completely dedicate my energy to this pursuit. So it's not that I'm, going out and pursuing my other interests or my career on a different level. I'm fully committed to this journey, and I don't have to go work another job. I'm doing this work and this work alone. So the first thing is being able to dedicate enough time and energy to developing, because it is an intense process if you're trying to get into this type of high development of the third eye. And
how would you elaborate on the intense process?
Well, the intense process has been, one, being of service here to others, two, being privy to certain, we do a lot of house readings. I take notes for readings for some of the people that we work with. So being a party to the way readings work, how energy works. We do a lot of work with cards. We work with cards every day. This is about energy, learning about the number system, learning codes, writing this book. So, I mean, there's been many components to this process.
How could you share with the idea of how you got more in touch with your third eye in terms of your own breath, in terms of your own experience on that psychic level within your body? Was there anything that you went through, any change, any transformation, anything you experienced that seemed to be more beyond just the physical realm?
You mean in terms of my intuitive ability developing into something more psychic?
What it felt like to get more in touch with your third eye. What did it feel like, real briefly?
Well, I'm still assessing what the sensation feels like, because the feeling of intuition, we've talked about this on past shows, the feeling of intuition is very different from the feeling that occurs when psychic information is coming in. And, I'm still learning to describe what that vibration is like, because it's so different than any kind of physical reaction. I hear a lot of people saying they're tapped on their nose or something by a spirit, or, they get a feeling in their gut. And really, when you're dealing with higher psychic vibration, it isn't a physical sensation. But Neil, I'd like to elaborate on that. Perhaps on a future show I can do so. Oh, we just lost him. Well.
We had a caller?
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a caller. Yes, we do. Let's see. Let's bring them on. 954.
Real briefly.
Yeah. We had two callers, actually. 954.
Hi, this is Valerie.
Hi.
I called, but I was enjoying your conversation, so I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Valerie. I'm 72064. But I'm very curious about developing a third eye, my third eye, not a third eye.
For a while. So what's going on?
Since I have six in my year, I didn't know. I mean, I had a dream the other night that the people that I was talking to, I know they're alive, but in the dream they were dead, and they were talking to me about what it's like on the other side. And then I was asking them, well, what can I do? What's the one thing I can do here to help me get over there? And then I couldn't, it was mumbled to me. It was like I couldn't understand anymore what they were saying.
Yeah.
So
in the astral realm, it's always a bummer to experience a speech impediment. They do have speech specialists up there, but they don't always do their job. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Valerie, what you perceive, what you experienced in your dream, these people are alive, but you experienced them as though they had crossed over. What you're doing is you're connecting to people that you have had past lives with, and you're experiencing the realm that you had with them in the astral realm between lifetimes. So you actually had a dream where you went to a position of time that was between lifetimes where you spoke to these people from a past life perspective, but in the astral realm. So that's why in your dream you confuse that they're alive and they're dead, because you're actually talking to them in the classroom between lifetimes. And so they're saying, yeah, I'm alive, you're alive, but remember 4 lifetimes ago when we were alive and then we died and we went to this astral realm to get ready to return to the earth? Well, let's go meet in that classroom and talk about the existence principle.
Because it was an astral dream. That's what I thought when I heard what she said.
You're right.
It wasn't a psychological dream.
No.
So she visited an astral plane.
She visited an astral plane, and she was in a classroom with people that she has had past lives with, and they were immediately discussing the principles of existence while between lifetimes. And it's mumbled because she's not able to carry that information back to the physical plane because it would be like cheating. So that's why it's mumbling to you, Valerie. It would be like bringing the textbook into the testing room, and the teacher's going to say, no, you leave that textbook out. You retain what you learned and try to regurgitate it on the test paper now. And you're going, oh, my God, I can't remember. All those jumbled facts. So you got panicky because you have to, in my estimation, what would be valuable to you would be to expand your cosmic consciousness so that you retain more. It would be like learning how to take a test. Your testing skills have to be improved, metaphorically speaking. So your cosmic mind has to be expanded upon so that your physical mind can absorb it easily in terms of when you return from these astral visits. Maybe we could even say your physical brain has to be expanded on through cosmic consciousness. So we can do that through breath. There's educational ways to get a grip on your physical mind so that you retain more. That's all about the grounding principle we were talking about, that the better grounded you are, the more you can handle in the metaphysical world. And that can be trained. You can learn to do that in the classroom of life.
Right, and having those astral experiences, not everybody gets to go into the astral realms in their sleep state. So it's great that that's happening.
It is
so just
great.
Keep
I don't know if
doing
you want
what
to
I'm
add
doing. Well, no, I was so intrigued, and normally I forget a lot of my dreams, but that one was very, I was like, oh, I got to write this down, and I'm like, I'm really retaining it, and it was just so interesting, and I was like, wow. So it was just, and they're like, oh, we're learning over there, but it's, but we're enjoying it. I don't remember if they were learning music or drawing or something. I don't know, but they were happy, and I was like, oh, and I was like, wait, I was like, I had stopped talking to them, and then I saw her again, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask you one question, like, what can I do, while I'm here? And then I couldn't understand what they were saying. I was like, oh no.
Well, don't fret over this, because there's ways to expand on your experience out there. It's a different kind of a reading. We can't do it on the radio, but there's ways to expand on your experience that you had to further fill in the gaps and bring more attention to the details of what you experienced there.
Okay, Valerie. Well, we appreciate you getting in touch. Nice to hear from you again.
Yes, and I love your little teachings. So you were talking about doing a show just with teaching, and always enjoy listening to you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. Glad to know that you still are listening.
All right.
Okay, take care. 562-596-7818. And I'm going to bring on one more caller because this person did come in and then go out. Hi there.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi, good. How are you? Who is this? Please?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. What's your name?
Can I ask you? My name is Ksenia.
Sorry?
Ksenia?
Yeah. Oh, it's Ksenia.
Yeah, Niya. Yes, yeah. I know people have a hard time sometimes with my name. I apologize.
Ksenia, no, it's very pretty. And what's your birth date, Ksenia, and location, please?
January 17th, 1985.
Okay. And
so that was it?
It's 1/17/85.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your question? And location? Where are you calling from?
Orlando, Florida.
Okay. Go ahead. 789. It'll be a quick reading today, but I wanted to make sure you got in since you called and came back, dropped and came back in.
I don't have any specific questions. Well, maybe what do you feel about career-wise? Like, what is my career path in my life?
Okay.
Do you feel something? Then do I need to continue what I'm doing right now, or I have to maybe go in a different way?
Ksenia, your master number is 5, and forgive me for the stereotypes, but when a woman occupies the number 5, they're very strong women. They can command a sense of presence and authority in, quote, and again, forgive me for the stereotypes, in a man's world. It's not a man's world. It's a human being's world. But when we get into the idea, which is a social reality, who conducts business, men or women? I believe in equality. I'm actually a supporter of women rights. I was back in the 70s a strong supporter back then, too. So, but I believe that a woman who is master number 5 is a woman that can handle herself in a masculine-dominated world. So first of all, you have management skills, and you have a strong sense of energy. I think it's, whether you agree with it or not, I think Clinton running for president, Hillary Clinton, is a fabulous, evolutionary, bold move for female consciousness, and I think it's one I support. I'm not talking about her issues or what party she belongs to. I'm just saying that it's about time that a strong charge of the planet too. Because I don't know.
Hello? Yeah, I'm sorry. I was disconnected for a couple of minutes. I apologize.
Well, what was that music for?
I think I don't know. It was obviously on her end.
I'm sorry. I lost you guys for a minute.
Well, whatever, Ksenia. We got to wrap up. But, your career path is strong. You're going to go into either management or teaching. There might be some teaching element or guidance in what you do, but it's certainly going to have some management skills to it. What do you do? What are you currently working?
Right now, I'm at school and medical field. I'm thinking, I didn't finish school, but I'm thinking to become a physician assistant or something relative to medicine. But I'm not sure about that. Sometimes I stop myself and think if it's right for me in my life. So that's why I want to.
Yeah, you have 2 years to really make a major decision in terms of the conclusion of your decision. But what you're going into would be appropriate to your number system and the essence of where your soul is trying to get to. It doesn't mean that that's the only channel. It only means that where you're heading has a validity to it that can be worked out quite systematic. You don't have to go that route, but it's not a bad route for you to go on.
All right. Well,
okay.
I got you in, and welcome to call our show again, or email directly. You're welcome. 562-596-7818. And I guess Neil, next time I can talk a little bit more about developing my own third eye.
Your own third eye. Yeah.
My own third eye. We are back on the air on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, and we thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much to our callers, our listeners, and thanks to you, Neil. Bye.